supposedly.
I've lost a few. The ghost always gets one or two. I don't know what he does. No idea. We got everyone yet, do you think? Yep. Good. Because I forgot to count how many there were. So this is where they used to bring their pots to empty in the morning. I hasten to assure you that's all it was used for. It wasn't a loo with a view or anything like that. They would scrub empty the pots out, scrub them out with those scrubbing brushes up on the box. The ones on the left are the original scrubbing brushes, so they're quite historic items. They haven't got any bristles left, but they are the original scrubbing brushes. Then they would rinse the pots out and leave them out here to dry. That bluestone block that you see there down at ground level is rather interesting too. That used to have one of those old hand-operated water pumps on it, and it's actually situated over quite a large underground water tank. And that was the water supply for the jail and the early days of J Ward. The water was collected from the cell block roof. There were actually several of those underground water tanks. We don't know where the rest of them were now, except for the one out the front of the old kitchen, and you'll see that when we go and see the old kitchen. This covered walkway, we are told, was built at the request of the nursing staff many years ago. Because apparently when they would bring the patients through that door in the morning, 3 or 4 at a time, to go across to the shower block for a shower, every now and then one of the patients, perhaps one of the newer ones, would step through the door there and they'd kind of think, "Whoa, we're free!" And off they go and they'd take off around the yard. And of course the nursing staff would have to run after them to bring them back to take them over to their shower. So they requested this covered walkway be built to keep them on the straight and narrow from the doorway across to the shower block. Also interesting to note the concrete surround on the downpipe there to stop the patients shinning up the downpipe. Come and have a look in the shower block while we're here. Very good. So, this is, as you can see, where the two mortuary trolleys ended up. The one on the left there is a relatively modern one, but the one on the right, that's a real museum piece. That one dates back to about 1885. That's the mortuary table there that used to be in the room that I was talking about before. And as you can see, it's been very well used during its life. That spring that you see in that enamel tray there, as a matter of interest, that's the genuine article that they used to sew the bodies up with after they'd sliced them open for the autopsy. And that square tin that you see there, that used to have formaldehyde in it, and that was used to store the organs that they wanted to keep for later examination. The table beside the one we had, we discovered for sale about a year or so ago down Portland Way, I think it was. We knew that it had actually been at Arrowdale before Arrowdale closed, so we thought we'd better buy that and keep it in the family as well. Now, this is the shower block. This shower block was built in 1940. Okay. We know that because the original shower block burned down in 1940. We are told that the original shower block did not have any hot water or heating. So you can imagine how the patients would have looked forward to coming over here for a shower on a nice cold winter's morning in Ararat. Could explain why they took off when they came through the door over there. But eventually the hot water was installed, the heating was installed, and the nursing staff controlled the hot water from this panel on the wall here. And we're told that they deliberately kept the taps loose so that they could keep those under their control while the showers were on. Because you wouldn't let the patients loose on the hot water, they would have taken great delight in scalding each other and doing all sorts of dreadful things, and then they would replace the taps at the end of the shower period. you'll note throughout the building and throughout the grounds, these red buttons, like this one on the wall just here, they were called panic buttons for obvious reasons. If any staff member felt that he was under threat in any way, he would thump one of those red buttons, a whacking great alarm bell would go off over in the main cell block over there. There was an indicator board to show which button had been pressed, and the other staff would come running to try and quell whatever situation had developed. Because, as you can imagine, they were not the nicest people in Victoria in this place by a long shot. They all had a mental health problem. That wasn't the problem. The problem was that so many of them had this violent streak that went with it. And whilst they were kept under control with medication to a fair sort of degree, the nursing staff never entirely trusted them, always had one eye over the shoulder, as you can imagine. This was an all-male establishment, all male nurses, all male patients. There was no female equivalent of J ward back in those days, to the best of my knowledge. Apparently the number of criminally insane women back in that previous era was infinitely less than the number of criminally insane men. So gentlemen, you may do with that knowledge whatever you wish. There were three different streams of people into this place. One stream came from the court system, those prisoners who were judged to be of unsound mind, unfit to plead in a court of law. They were sent directly to J ward, and they probably spent the rest of their lives here. Prisoners in the prison system who developed a mental health problem while they were in the prison system, they were sent here for treatment, and their average stay was about 9 months before they went back to finish off the rest of their sentence. And patients in the mental hospital system who became too violent for the mental hospital system to look after, they were sent here as well. So, as you can imagine, they were a fairly interesting group of people in here, to put it mildly, and you'd wonder why on earth anyone would want to work here. You really would. And yet we've heard time and time again, I hear music, we've heard time and time again that the men that worked here loved their jobs, absolutely loved it. There was just something about working here that they really found satisfying. And they never had any trouble at all staffing the place, never had any trouble at all. So just an interesting thought, isn't it, that the men that worked here just thought it was just a wonderful job. Okay, we'll move along. Now, we'll cross over to the main cell block. I'll just get the last person out to pull the door shut for me, if you would. It keeps out the leaves and the possums and the ghosts and things like that.